A lot of people come to me wanting answers about avoidant people. They want to know why the avoidant pulled away, why they disappeared, why they seemed so loving one minute and so distant the next, why they could tell you that you mattered and then act like you didn't. And usually when people ask me these questions, there's a lot of pain behind them, a lot of confusion, a lot of anger, sometimes a lot of obsession. Because when someone hurts you badly, your brain keeps trying to solve the puzzle. You keep thinking, what happened? What did I do wrong? Why wasn't I enough? Why did they seem to care and then pull away? And today I want to talk to you about something that might be a little different from what you've heard before. I want to help you understand the avoidant, not excuse them, not defend them, not tell you to get back together with them, not tell you that everything they did was okay, and definitely not tell you that understanding them means the relationship can work, because those are completely different things. What I'm talking about today is understanding, because understanding can sometimes reduce suffering, and if you're carrying around a lot of pain, that matters. Think about this for a second. When somebody hurts us, our brain automatically creates explanations. The problem is that many of those explanations are wrong. They pulled away because I was too much. They lost interest because I wasn't attractive enough. I wasn't important enough. I wasn't lovable enough. But what if that's not actually what happened? What if the person you're dealing with is terrified of emotional closeness? What if intimacy itself creates anxiety for them? What if the closer they feel to someone, the more trapped they feel? What if love itself feels dangerous to them? Now listen carefully. I'm not saying that's your situation. I'm not diagnosing your ex. I'm not saying every difficult person is avoidant. But if you're dealing with a truly avoidant person, the way they experience relationships is often very different from the way secure people experience them. Many avoidant people learned very early in life that depending on other people wasn't safe. Maybe their emotional needs weren't met. Maybe they were criticized. Maybe they were neglected. Maybe vulnerability wasn't welcomed. Maybe they learned that closeness leads to disappointment. So they adapted, and those adaptations helped them survive. The problem is that those same adaptations often destroy adult relationships, because now when intimacy increases, they don't feel safer. You often feel less safe. When somebody loves them deeply, instead of relaxing into it, they may feel pressure. When somebody gets emotionally close, they may feel trapped. When somebody wants more connection, they may experience it as a demand. And from the outside, it makes absolutely no sense, because you're thinking, why would you run from something good? But from their perspective, they're not running from something good. They're running from something scary. Again, that does not make it okay. Let's be very clear. Understanding behavior is not the same thing as excusing behavior. If somebody lies to you, that's still a problem. If somebody disappears, that's still a problem. If somebody constantly withdraws, stonewalls, avoids conversations, gives mixed signals, or keeps hurting you, those are still real problems. I'm not defending any of that. I'm simply saying that understanding why it happens can change the story you're telling yourself. And sometimes the story is where a huge amount of the pain lives. For example, there's a big difference between believing they left because I wasn't enough and believing they left because closeness overwhelms them. Those are not the same story. One attacks your worth, the other explains their behavior. One leaves you feeling defective, the other leaves you understanding that their actions may have had far more to do with their fears than your value. And that's important, because a lot of people spend years carrying shame that never belonged to them. Now, here's another thing people don't always understand. Avoidant people often suffer too, sometimes a lot. People imagine that avoidants walk away without pain. That's not always true. Many avoidants are lonely. Many want connection. Many want love. Many want closeness. The problem is that when they get it, their nervous system starts sounding the alarms. They move toward people, then away, then back, then away again. And everyone gets hurt, including them. The tragedy is that many avoidants desperately want connection while simultaneously being terrified of it. That's why so many relationships become exhausting. One person is chasing closeness, the other person is trying to manage anxiety, and neither person feels understood. And here's the part that I think matters most. Understanding avoidance does not mean you should stay with them. Let me repeat that. Understanding avoidance does not mean you should stay with them. It does not mean you should tolerate bad treatment. It does not mean you should abandon your boundaries. It does not mean you should keep getting hurt. It does not mean the relationship is suddenly workable. I've worked with many people who understood their avoidant partner perfectly, crystal clear, and they were still miserable. Because understanding someone and being compatible with someone are two different things. Understanding someone and feeling emotionally safe with them are two different things. Understanding someone and having your needs met are two different things. You can understand exactly why a person behaves the way they do and still conclude this relationship is not healthy for me. That's okay. Sometimes that's the right answer. The goal of understanding is not conciliation. The goal of understanding is freedom. Because once you understand what's happening, you can stop fighting reality. You can stop trying to force an avoidant person to become somebody they're not. You can stop personalizing everything. You can stop carrying responsibility for problems that never belong to you. And often that's where healing starts. Not because the pain disappears. Not because what happened becomes okay. Not because you suddenly stop missing them, but because the confusion starts to lift. And when confusion lifts, suffering often decreases. You stop asking what's wrong with me and start asking what was really happening here. Those are very different questions. So if you've been hurt by an avoidant person, I want you to hear this. You don't have to excuse them. You don't have to defend them. You don't have to take them back. You don't have to forgive them today. You don't even have to like them, but understanding them may help you suffer less. And sometimes suffering less is the first step toward finally moving forward. The more clearly you understand what happened, the less likely you are to keep blaming yourself for it. And that alone can be incredibly healing.